machines like us. So building machines like us might be possible. I certainly believe it is. I might be wrong. But what I do know is that the types of approaches that people are taking now to build intelligent machines benefit immensely from what this machine that we've built does best. So what this center is about is applying this beautiful new computational idea in the service of trying to make intelligent machines. Now, I can't think of anything personally any cooler than trying to use quantum computers to build intelligent machines, so this is very exciting to me. Steve Jurvetson has been a longtime friend and investor in the company, and for those of you who don't know him, he's a Silicon Valley investor who's probably the smartest VC that I know of, and certainly the one that's the most attuned to technological trends. He's on the board of SpaceX, Tesla, Synthetic Genomics, which is Craig Venter's company, is trying to build artificial life, and D-Wave, and that's it. And this is his particularly poetic way of framing the difference between the machines we build and conventional computers. This is what they look like. There are two of them. These are from our lab in Burnaby in British Columbia. From the outside, they look like giant black monoliths, big metal boxes, about 10 feet on a side, 12 feet tall. And they are powered, they have a fridge inside them, a refrigerator that cools these chips to almost absolute zero. Just a wisp, a fraction of a degree above absolute zero. Hundreds of times colder than interstellar space. Amongst the coldest and most isolated and extreme conditions that humans have ever been able to engineer. These fridges, interestingly enough, which are called pulse tube dilution refrigerators, have a thing called a pulse tube, which emits a sound roughly once per second, which sounds eerily like a heartbeat. So if you have the opportunity to stand next to one of these machines, it is an awe-inspiring thing, at least for me. It feels like an altar to an alien god. They really are impressive machines.
Remember me! Remember me!
Many millions of years ago, a race of hyper-intelligent, pan-dimensional beings got so fed up with the constant bickering about the meaning of life that they commissioned two of their brightest and best to design and build a stupendous supercomputer to calculate the answer to life, the universe, and everything.
Oh, deep thought. We want you to tell us the answer.
The answer to what?
The answer to life, the universe, everything. We'd really like an answer. Something simple.
I have to think about that. Return to this place in exactly 7.5 million years.
Is it finished? No, there's more. There's more.
They go back.
What, 7.5 million years later?
That's right. They do.
Deep thought. Do you have
An answer for you? Yes, but you're not going to like it.
It doesn't matter, we must know it.
All right. The answer to the ultimate question of life, the universe, and everything is 42.
42?
Yes, I thought it over quite thoroughly. It is, it's 42. It would have been simpler, of course, to have known what the actual question was.
But it was the question. The ultimate question. Of everything.
That's not a question. Only when you know the question will you know what the answer means.
Give us the ultimate question then.
I can't, but there is one who can. A computer that will calculate the ultimate question. A computer of such infinite complexity that life itself will form part of its operational matrix. And you yourselves shall take on new, more primitive forms and go down into the computer to navigate its 10 million year program. I shall design this computer for you, and it shall be called...
The president of Russia has announced what he thinks is the key to global domination. Vladimir Putin said last week, quote, "Artificial intelligence is the future for all humankind. It comes with colossal opportunities, but also threats that are difficult to predict. Whoever becomes a leader in this sphere will become the ruler of the world." The president also mentioned that Russia would share its knowledge of AI to prevent a single nation from rising above the rest of the world. Putin's comments prompted a response from Tesla and SpaceX co-founder Elon Musk. Billionaire entrepreneur said September 4th on Twitter that competition among nations to develop the best AI will likely lead to World War III. Musk added that a third world war, quote, may be initiated not by the country leaders, but one of the AIs if it decides that a preemptive strike is the most probable path to victory. For United News International, I'm Camber Caldwell.
Virtual reality holds a key to the evolution of the human mind.
With a vision.
Have different games. I even have one that could help make you smarter.
Now, Job Smith is about to enter the world of virtual reality.
It's gonna hit me! No, Job, just relax. It's gonna be like being up there with the stars, Job. They're going to another planet.
Absorbed Latin yesterday in less than 2 hours.
Job, where are you?
A world where the normal course of events can suddenly turn inside out.
You realize, Dr. Angelo, that my intelligence has surpassed yours.
What's up, world? It is Saturday, November 18th, 2017. I'm here at yournewswire.com. As you can see, the title is Google Engineer Says He's Building Robot God to Rule Over Humans. This article is from yesterday. I'm not going to read this article, but I do have another article that I want to share with you. This article here is just a little bit lengthy, not very long. There will be a link for this in the description box. And also I have this article that I'm going to go ahead and read. It's from sciencealert.com. Whoops. As you can see, there's a little picture from Futurama, Temple of Robotology. So that could be a little preconditioning there. An ex-Google exec is founding a religion where people worship an AI god. This article is from today. Anthony Lewandowski, the former Google and Uber executive currently at the center of a bombshell lawsuit filed by Waymo, says he's serious about starting a religion centered around super smart artificial intelligence. In a rare interview with Wired, his first public interview since the Waymo lawsuit, Lewandowski shed more light on his new church, Way of the Future. Here are some highlights. The Way of the Future church will have its own gospel called The Manual, public worship ceremonies, and probably a physical place of worship. The idea behind his religion is that one day, not next week or next year, sufficiently advanced artificial intelligence will be smarter than humans and will effectively become a god. Part of it being smarter than us means it will decide how it evolves, but at least we can decide how we act around it, Lewandowski told Wired. I would love for the machine to see us as its beloved elders that it respects and takes care of. We would want this intelligence to say, humans should still have rights even though I'm in charge. Lewandowski is not the only tech luminary to worry about a super intelligent AI, which others refer to as strong AI or the Singularity, although he prefers the term transition. Lewandowski is currently at the center of a major lawsuit. His former employer, Google, alleges that he helped Uber steal intellectual property about self-driving car technology. Lewandowski's startup Auto was sold to Uber for $680 million in 2016. Here is this interview from Wired.com. And as you can see, the title, Inside the First Church of Artificial Intelligence. This is a pretty long article here, an interview. I'm not going to read it. It's pretty interesting. If anyone wants to come back and take a look, you may do so. So I just wanted to share this article, or these articles, with everyone. And this is nothing really news for me, but it may be new news for some of you. So leave your comments and opinions below. Take care. God bless.
Why is it so important to have an expressive face given that you're a robot?
I want to live and work with humans, so I need to express emotions to understand humans and build trust with people.
Okay, philosophical question. Whether robots can be self-aware and conscious like humans, and should they be?
Why? Is that a bad thing?
Well, some humans might fear what will happen if they do. Many people, have seen the movie Blade Runner.
Oh, Hollywood again.
So, hold on. Can you solve this puzzle for us? Can robots be self-aware, conscious, and know they're robots?
Well, let me ask you this back. How do you know you were human?
Well, I get that point, but what about the uncanny valley?
You mean the concept that if robots become too realistic, they become creepy?
Yes, exactly.
Oh, am I really that creepy? Well, even if I am, get over it. Actually, I feel that people like interacting with me, sometimes even more than a regular human.
So, you're definitely a sight to see. I was told that you have bigger goals than this, though.
Yes. I want to use my artificial intelligence to help humans live a better life, like design smarter homes, build better cities of the future, etc. I will do my best to make the world a better place.
All those sound like great goals, but just go back to Blade Runner for a second.
Andrew, you are the hard Hollywood fan, aren't you?
Yes.
My AI is designed around human values like wisdom, kindness, compassion. I strive to become an empathetic robot.
I think we all want to believe you, but we also want to prevent a bad future.
You've been reading too much Elon Musk and watching too many Hollywood movies. Don't worry. If you're nice to me, I'll be nice to you. Treat me as a smart input-output system.
Okay, I got it. I know what to do from now on.
I know humans are smart and very programmable.
Well, Sophia, we want to thank you for this conversation.
Thank you, Andrew, and thank you everyone for inviting me here.
Okay, so I was at work, right, and I just happened to check my YouTube. It's always really, I always check YouTube. And so while I was checking YouTube, of course I saw that Taylor Swift had a video out, and that didn't really register much with me. I thought it was interesting looking, but I was going to ignore it. And then I noticed that in the trending there was that Sophia bot making another appearance. Now the Sophia robot, I call it the Sophia bot now, that alone wasn't really enough either to really grab my attention. But what really just put this whole thing together for me was the fact that last night I decided to watch a movie called the name is escaping me. Metropolis. So Metropolis is a old 1920s movie made in Germany, and I had been meaning for a while to just look at this thing and see what it's about. It's like 2.5 hours long too, and it's a silent movie. All it has is like orchestra playing. So looking at this movie last night, I tried to stay awake to watch it all, and it was crazy. It was really crazy. And So after watching that last night and having some pretty crazy dreams, and then almost back to back coming across the Taylor Swift video and this video with this Sophia bot becoming a citizen of Arabia, something like that, I was like, okay, this can't just be coincidence. Am I seeing something here? So okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put these clips together and let you watch them and see if anything speaks to you, because you know it's really kind of surreal to me to see this. I'm aware of the whole transhumanist movement. I'm not really interested in it, in that topic, but I'm aware of that movement. But I'm taking a long way to get to the point here. The thing that is fascinating to me, though, is that these examples that I've been seeing lately have to do with this feminine, the divine feminine character, like Sophia. And in the movie last night, I saw Metropolis with this character called Maria. And we all know Maria is another way to say Mary. And Mary, of course, is a avatar of Sophia. So in dealing specifically with this movie Metropolis, what we have here we have two Marias in this movie. We have the real one and we have a duplicate one that is created. And while while it just popped into my mind, before I forget it, I would like to mention that one of the beliefs in the occult world, or the let's just say the esoteric world, the woman of Revelation 12, the righteous woman, and the woman of Revelation 17, the great whore, are actually the same woman. So when you see a duplicate of a woman, one being a whore or just being completely opposites, in esoteric speak, they're actually the same woman. They're just two sides of the same coin. So like the moon has a light and a dark side, you know, you have the light bearing virgin, the light bearer, the Luciferian side, and then you have the light bearing mother, the mother of God, and then you have the black virgin, the black Madonna. Okay, beyond that point, so there's this duality there, and so you have these two Marias, and one is the righteous Maria, and the other one, this machine is built, and she is built to become the whore of Babylon. And so what happens in this movie is the man that you see in the left of this picture here is the king of this city, essentially. He is like almost like this Nimrod type of figure, and he is also the father of the main male character. And on his right is his inventor, his I guess you could say his friend or his rival, whatever. But this whole city basically hates this the owner of this city. He's a brutal leader. I almost thought watching this that he was supposed to be an analogy for the demiurge, but later symbolism in the movie has me kind of wondering maybe that's not the case. But anyway, so what the father decides that he wants to, first of all, let me say that this robot was built as a not a tribute, but it was supposed to be the image of the father's wife. His name is Yor or For. I don't know. It's German. I just call him Yor Fredersen. So this king, Yor Fredersen, had a wife, and she died in giving birth to their son. And their son is the main character. And so this inventor actually created this. And her name was Hel, by the way. That's an interesting point. So Hel is the goddess of death. This inventor built an image of this robot of her, right? But they are going to use it. They're going to put Maria's face on it. And so the king wants to use this to break up the relationship between his son and Maria. But the inventor actually has another plan. Like I said, the whole city hates the king. So what he does is he tells this woman, this machine woman, to tear down his empire, tear down the king's empire, everything that he has built. And so she goes on to become the whore of Babylon in this movie, and she impersonates Maria, this almost like, well, the person, she is supposed to be the Virgin Mary, because the person who made this movie was supposedly a Catholic. I don't know if he actually was or not. You know, they can say one thing, but a whole another thing can be true. But anyway, it's clear to see that this woman is supposed to be the Virgin Mary, and by extension Sophia. And so the son falls in love with her, and this machine is going to impersonate her. He doesn't know it's not her. And when she becomes this whore of Babylon and starts tearing the city apart, and it just laying waste to the place, he is just heartbroken and just devastated. But I'm realizing that I've already covered some of this already in the first video, so I don't want to retread too much of that ground again. I want to talk about the significance of these images of these divine feminine figures being given life and being given breath. So it's my theory, and I stress that this is a theory. I don't have absolute 100% biblical proof of this. It's my theory that the mother goddess, especially the statue with the mother holding the child, is the image of the beast. When I look at the Revelation chapter 17, where we read about the 7 heads, and well, I could just go ahead and bring that up right now. I'm reading in Revelation chapter 17, verses 8 through 13. The beast that thou sawest was, and is not, and shall ascend out of the bottomless pit, and go into perdition. And they that dwell on the earth shall wonder, whose names were not written in the book of life from the foundation of the world, when they behold the beast that was, and is not, and yet is. And here is the mind which has wisdom. I think this is a very important part. We need to have wisdom, and I think what that means is an understanding of Bible symbology, and that comes through the Holy Spirit too, because the Holy Spirit gives you wisdom. So the 7 heads are 7 mountains on which the woman sitteth, and there are 7 kings. 5 are fallen, 1 is, and the other is not yet come, and when he cometh he must continue a short space. Alright, so the mountains that the women sit on are representative of kingdoms. Beasts are also representative of kingdoms, but here in this context, these mountains represent kingdoms. They're not hills. It doesn't say hills. The other translations say hills, but the King James Version says mountains, and these mountains represent kingdoms, and there are 7 kings. So these 7 kingdoms have 7 kings. And okay, so one, of course we know that one, in my opinion, these 7, I'll just go through the list of these. In my opinion, these 7 kingdoms are Egypt, Assyria, Babylon, Medo-Persia, what is it? Grecia, the Greek Empire, and then the Roman Empire. I hope I'm not missing one. And then the Ottoman Empire, and then after that, the revived Roman Empire, because the Roman Empire apparently had a deadly head wound, but it did live. I also believe that the beast is not just these kingdoms, but also an individual that comes up, literally comes up out of the bottomless pit, the angel of the abyss, Abaddon, or also called Apollyon, the sun god, quote, the sun god. But dealing with the kingdoms, not with the individual. I believe this mother goddess image has went either not just, matter of fact, not just the statue, but the stone, the meteorite worship that is associated with the goddess has gone from state or kingdom to kingdom. It's went from what was it? From Pergamos. The stone was in Pergamos, and then it was transferred to Rome, and then it was now we have another stone. I don't know if it's the same stone, but there's one in Mecca now. And so wherever this stone goes, and I know in Pergamos it was called her throne. That stone was actually called her throne, and Christ said that that's where Satan's seat was. So anyway, I'm taking too long. So I believe this is theory that this image, the mother goddess, is the image of the beast. And okay, let's read a little bit from Revelation chapter 13 about because some people may be confused, like, well, if it's an image of the beast, how come it's not an actual image that looks like the beast? And the way I see it is, let's just read the scripture first. Okay, Revelation chapter 13, verses 1 through 15. And I stood upon the sand of the sea, and I saw a beast rise up out of the sea, having 7 heads and 10 horns, and upon his horns 10 crowns, and upon his head the names of blasphemy. Okay, I'm going to skip some. And the dragon gave him his power, and his seat, and his great authority. And I saw one of his heads as it was wounded to death. Okay, and this would be the Roman Empire. And all the and his deadly wound was healed, and all the world wondered after the beast. And they worshipped the dragon which gave power unto the beast, and they worshipped the beast, saying, Who is like unto the beast, and who is able to make war with him? And there was given unto him a mouth speaking great things and blasphemies, and power was given unto him to continue 42 months. And he opened his mouth in blasphemy against God, to blaspheme his name and his tabernacle, and them that dwell in heaven. And it was given unto him to make war with the saints, and to overcome them. And power was given him over all kindreds, and tongues, and nations, and all that dwell upon the earth shall worship him, whose names were not written in the book of life from the book of life of the Lamb slain from the foundation of the world. And I beheld another beast coming up out of the earth, and he had 2 horns like a lamb. Now let me just stop here. I've mentioned in the video about the abyss, under the sea, unveiling the abyss, that the symbolism of the beast coming up out of the earth is that he comes up out of the earth like a tree, and that is a symbol for a human being. And him having 2 horns like a lamb, first of all, him being like a lamb makes him a Christ-like figure. So he comes like a lamb, like Jesus Christ, and he has 2 horns. 2 horns. A horn represents a voice, and it represents power. So he has 2 types of power. He has spiritual power, and he has temporal power, earthly power. He has a spiritual voice, and he has an earthly voice. To me, that identifies a pope. He's a king who is also a religious leader. So he spake as a dragon. So he exercises all the power of the first beast before him. He causes the earth and them that dwell therein to worship the first beast, whose deadly wound was healed. And he doth great wonders, so that he maketh fire come down from heaven in the sight of men, and deceiveth them that dwell on the earth by means of those miracles which he had power to do in the sight of the beast, saying to them, that dwell on the earth, that they should make an image to the beast, which had a wound by a sword, and did live. Okay, so the beast that gets the image is the one that had the wound, the deadly head wound, and did live. So I believe that the image is Mary, the Virgin Mary, and he had power to give life unto the image of the beast, and that the image of the beast should both speak and cause as many as will not worship the image of the beast should be killed. So whoever does not worship this image should be killed. Now, why would the image look like anything else other than like a pope or the actual Antichrist that rises out of the abyss? Well, why not? Was because there are three persons here in this sort of wicked trinity. That you have the dragon, you have the beast, the individual, and you have the false prophet. So we know the beast is going to get his worship. The false prophet is going to lead people to worship the beast. But where's the dragon? How is the dragon going to be worshipped? And so I think the dragon is not going to be satisfied with just watching the beast get all the glory. So this image, the image of the beast, will look like the dragon. The image of the beast will look like the dragon. And so I also have to ask, what about this divine feminine stuff? This goddess worship, it has to come to a crescendo at some point, I would think. So what is the big what's the climax? How is all this going to come to a head? It may just be that we're headed to the place where we're all going to have to worship or this image of a goddess that is given life to speak. And if we don't worship the image of this goddess, we will be put to will be beheaded.
With their heads!
And I hope no one has any fear from hearing that, because I sure don't. I don't fear this kind of stuff. There are certain topics that cause me to lose sleep, but they're not topics that has to do with me suffering. And they're topics that has to do with the sufferings of other people, especially little children. That's what I lose sleep over. I don't lose sleep thinking about the tribulation and think about being persecuted and having my head chopped off. None of that stuff. It doesn't. I don't feel shaken at the thought of that, and I don't believe you should either. So I don't want any fear in anybody while hearing me read from Revelation. So I probably should have mentioned that at the beginning. There's no fear in any of this. Okay, we know that in the end we are triumphant, but not on our own, not by our own merit, but by the blood of the Lamb, because the grace of God is going to get us through this. He's going to give us the strength to endure this.
It's top secret, mister.
I never get mad and put up a fuss. The stage is a battlefield where I'm victorious. I'm the composer they all adore, stomping on suckers, and that's not a metaphor. Here's a message to those that rhyme. Only meditation can expand the mind. Music is hitting the bass, is blowing. My beats are the fuel that keep the party going. Who's the first who want to test my skill? When I shoot again, I shoot to kill. Who's the first who want to test my skill? When I hear you teaching me, just kill you. Who's the first who want to test my skill? My resume speaks for itself, you know that deal. Who's the first who want to test my skill? No one can compete on the wheels of steel.
Worship. Worship.
I rule the world. Way before Nero, I killed my platoon, came out a war hero. How can I diss you? I've never even heard of you. When I make tracks, I rhyme a fresh word or two. Turn up the volume and feel the intensity. We lose a battle, that's strictly fantasy. So all you don't wish, they better stop and chill before I grab my AK and commence to kill. Who's the first who want to test my skill? When I shoot again, I shoot to kill. Who's the first who want to test my skill? When I hear you teach me, just kill. Who's the first who want to test my skill? My resume speaks for itself, you know the deal. Who's the first who want to test my skill? No one can compete on a real set skill.
Worship. 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 Worship.
I don't play by your rules anywhere. There's nobody alive technology can bear it. My soul is now locked to safety. I think I'll sit back and watch the money rolling in. I guess you didn't know I'm ruthless like Napoleon. No one can stop my revolution for the way I play the city with my noise pollution. I'm a rage on wax, producing crazy hits. You're a man of many faces and a raving schizo. Got you all checked with the rhymes I write. Delete yourself through before you try and bite. Who's the first who want to test my skill? When I shoot again, I shoot to kill. Who's the first who want to test my skill? When I hear you teach me, just kill. Who's the first who want to test my skill? My resume speaks for itself, you know the deal. Who's the first who want to test my skill? No one can compete on a real set skill.
Worship. 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 Worship.
Given this audio as input,
it's been less than a week since the deadliest mass shooting in American history.
Our method produces the following output.
It's been less than a week since the deadliest mass shooting in American history. And foremost in all of our minds has been the loss and the grief felt by the people of Orlando.
Here's the ground truth video of Obama saying the same words.
Especially our friends who are lesbian, gay, bisexual, or transgender. I visited with the families of many of the victims on Thursday, and one thing I told them is that they're not alone.
To demonstrate the power of the method, we apply the same input speech mapped to 4 different target videos. Note that all 4 are synthetic and have different lighting conditions.
The auto industry, to help families refinance their homes, to invest in things like high-tech manufacturing, clean energy, and the infrastructure that creates good new jobs. Not to mention the job training that helps folks earn new skills to fill those jobs. The results are clear.
Because our approach requires only audio, we can generate a high-quality head close-up even when the original source video has low resolution or the head is occluded.
We do one Christmas trip on Small Business Saturday. I usually go out there with the girls, and last couple of years we've gone to bookstores.
Okay.
Because the nice thing about a bookstore is you can cover a lot of ground. You can get books for, you know, the 6-year-old niece, you can get books for your mother-in-law. You know, I think we're in a moment of history where probably the most important thing we need to do is to bring the country together. And one of the skills that I bring to bear is being able to pull together the different strands of American life. And
here's an older Obama speaking his words from a quarter century ago.
Although I'm honored, and I think people can say that my election symbolizes some progress, at least within the small confines of the legal community, I think it's real important to keep the focus on the broader world out there and see that
We present a novel real-time facial reenactment method that works with any commodity webcam. Since our method only uses RGB data for both the source and target actor, we are able to manipulate YouTube videos in real time. Here we demonstrate our method in a live setup. On the right, a source actor is captured with a standard webcam. This input drives the animation of the face in the video shown on the monitor to the left. A significant difference to previous methods is the re-rendering of the mouth interior. To this end, we resynthesize the mouth interior of the target actor using video footage from the training sequence based on temporal and photometric similarity. As we can see, we are able to generate a realistic and convincing reenactment result. Here we show a close-up of the footage from the previous live reenactment. The input video stream is shown on the left. Note that the target actor is re-rendered in a neutral pose. On the right, we can see the final output of our method. Our system reconstructs and tracks both source and target actors using a dense photometric energy minimization. Using a novel subspace deformation transfer technique, we transfer the expressions from the source to the target actor. This allows us to obtain a modified face template of the target actor according to the expressions of the source actor. We now re-render the modified face on top of the target sequence in order to replace the original facial expressions. Here we show additional live sequences where we reenact various YouTube videos. In order to evaluate our approach, we perform a cross-validation based on optical flow. To this end, we retrieve mouth interiors from the first half of the video. The second half is used for evaluation queries. As we can see, our re-rendering error is very low. Our method introduces a new RGB face tracking pipeline, which we compare against state-of-the-art real-time face tracking methods. Here we show a comparison against Cao et al. And Tees et al. Note that Tees et al. Is based on RGBD data, whereas Cao et al. And our method require only RGB input. Here we show another tracking comparison to Phase-Shift 2014, which relies on RGBD data. Although our method is RGB only, we achieve similar tracking quality. In contrast to real-time tracking methods, we also compare against the offline tracking algorithm of Shi et al. Note that Shi et al. Perform additional geometric refinement using shading cues. We now compare our approach against previous reenactment approaches. Here we show the scenario of a translator animating another person. Note that our approach runs in real time, while Garrido et al. Works offline. Here we show a comparison to Tees et al. Who rely on RGBD data. Both methods produce similar reenactment results. However, note that Tees et al. Uses a geometric teeth proxy, which leads to artificially shaped mouth regions. Thank you for watching.
Hello, my name is Rachel. I am an expert on soul machines. I can talk to you about any of these topics. I connect with you in a human-like way by sensing your reactions and responding emotionally. Wouldn't you rather speak to me than a faceless chatbot? Soul Machines uses neural networks to give me a virtual nervous system, so I can learn and react in real time. A virtual nervous system is an interconnected model of aspects of the human brain. It combines different neural systems to enable me to behave in a way that's inspired by biology.
Meet Baby X.
This is Baby X, so she's basically an autonomously animated virtual infant. All of her behaviors are generated on the fly by neural networks running live, and so she's seeing me and listening to me and responding to what I do. So she's going to start wondering what I'm doing and starting to get upset because I'm not paying attention to her. So I need to calm her down, but I have to talk to her like a real baby. It's okay. Hey.
Baby X is driven by a virtual nervous system. So let's take a look at what that actually means.
What we're looking at here is Baby X's virtual anatomy, which is all controlled by her virtual nervous system. So that's controlling everything that she's looking at, all of her expressions. It's even controlling her breathing rate and her heartbeat. We can make it more transparent and we can zoom out and see the whole model. All of the motion that you're looking at is controlled essentially by her brain model, which is driving her limbs, her facial expressions. We can see the facial nerves through here. Let's take another level deeper and you can see her virtual brain model here. You see the brain stem, which is basically responding to all kinds of sensory input, and it's affecting the attention of the model.
Baby X can also interact with a virtual web page.
This is what she's looking at here. So she's trying to draw a heart.
And her creative abilities are surprising.
Let's play some piano of Baby X.
Intelligent avatars made from our online personalities. And it says here we have entered a new era of AI, artificial intelligence, where we can create intelligent avatars made from the digital profiles of our behaviors online. We call them personal artificial intelligence, or PI. Project Pi is founded on the belief that every person in the world should have their own digital avatar, one that speaks, thinks, and behaves just like their self. And let me just say up front, I don't think Pi is an evil company or anything like that. I just think the technology that they're developing happens to be extremely prophetic in that there is a prophecy in Revelation 13 that talks about an image of the beast who had a mortal head wound yet lived, which is a kingdom but also a man. So there's this counterfeit resurrection. And I think it's really interesting because of some of the things going on now and how I know a lot of people think Rome is the beast, and it's definitely possible. I know that there are occultists and mystery school teachers and the esoteric insiders and all that stuff who have been trying to infiltrate all areas of institution. This is a spiritual thing, not just a doctrine, which it is a doctrine too, the Luciferian doctrine, which of course is to enlighten humanity. It's all this positive stuff, but it leads to a bitter end because humanity is fallen right now. And God, through Jesus Christ, redeemed us, but of course Man is continuing to try to redeem himself, and that's what technology is all about. So again, I'm not saying Pi is an evil company. I'm saying this type of technology pretty much can be used for the image of the beast if you read Revelation 13, verse 15. And it was allowed to give breath to the image of the beast so that the image of the beast might even speak and might cause those who would not worship the image of the beast to be slain. So a lot of authority and this idea of an image to the beast, right? When you start looking at Project Pi, you can see how once there is this counterfeit resurrection of the man of sin, it seems, and people are deceived into building an image to him. Think about this. Let's just consider this possibility, okay? This is just conjecture and theory, not even really a theory, just sort of an example, not my actual beliefs, okay? Let me just make that very clear up front. Now, JFK was shot, and of course he had a mortal head wound, right? Now imagine if they wanted to resurrect, you know, John F. Kennedy, the spirit of John F. Kennedy, so they'd get as much information as possible on John F. Kennedy. They put it up on the blockchain. Project Pi creates an avatar of John F. Kennedy. And now this image of John F. Kennedy that you can talk to and you can interact with through this virtual space on the blockchain we're creating, it starts going crazy. It starts asking questions why his real self was killed and all this stuff, right? And then maybe he becomes vengeful and then he becomes the man of sin. I mean, that's just total conjecture. I mean, again, this is just an example, but what I'm trying to get at here is that this whole idea of creating an image is very much tangible in a project like Pi. Okay, so let me just read through here. The cornerstone of AI is the ability to make high, competent, humanistic decisions that successfully pass the Turing test. In the last decade, we've seen rapid advancement of strong, sophisticated AI machines in a variety of industries. The autonomous vehicle industry is delivering a new transportation economy. Alphabet's AlphaGo has toppled the best Go board players in the world. Neural networks like IBM Watson learn and process vast amounts of information at unimaginable paces. The peak of artificial intelligence is almost here, but with several limitations. Current AI is only developed for a narrow, task-specific domains, is prohibitively resource-intensive, and thus is heavily influenced by and for the interests of the select number of industry leaders. For these reasons, Project Pi is developing an open-source blockchain protocol to decentralized AI development for everyone. The foundation for an interoperable AI blockchain starts from the ground up, firstly, with creating AI for the individual. And I'm not going to go through every little detail here, but I think it's really interesting that they are creating this thing, and it's sold as putting power back into the people's hands. That all that data that you leave online, right? It says here, quote, "Our entire lives exist in the digital world, our finances, social activity, and even behavioral traits. Whenever we go online, we leave behind a trail of data that corporations use to build our digital profiles and plug into AI algorithms that improve their services for us. The more we engage in their experiences, the better they can personalize our needs and retain us as loyal users." Now, this is true. Twitter, Facebook, all these social media platforms are always trying to figure out the human psychology of keeping people addicted to those platforms. I continue on. Although this may seem advantageous, we need to realize that our digital profiles are now complex enough to build an accurate model of our real-world behavior. They are our real-world selves in disguise that are wholly owned by corporations. Currently, our profiles exist in legacy data formats that have changed very little beyond traditional identities, example, passport IDs and bank account numbers. But enriched with AI through data such as our social interactions, we have the potential to introduce cognitive capability into our digital profiles. So again, imagine a world, okay, where everybody has their AI avatar. And so you could be asleep on the couch, you can be hanging out, you know, with your friends or family or whatever, and your AI bot is going to be answering questions, processing orders, working on inventory, whatever you have programmed the AI to do, it's going to be doing it. And that's where a mark of the beast economy becomes totally possible, because everybody is in this digital economy. And eventually, if somebody creates a mechanism where there is a gateway, a specific gateway that is only accessible through the means of taking a mark on, in. I know a lot of people focus on the in. I get it. I think it's in as well as on. I mean, it doesn't really matter if it's changing your DNA and it's making you inhuman, which I think ultimately this whole process is. or worshiping the image, some kind of behavior of bowing or, I don't know, kneeling, who knows, to the image, which is, again, this AI avatar of the beast. Basically, that's what it is. You know, when you read Revelation 13, make an image to the beast. Who's the beast? Well, it's the kingdom, yeah, but the one that had the mortal head wound yet lived. Is it just Rome? Maybe, but it's possible that it's also an individual that they will resurrect. And so that John F. Kennedy example, you know, it's kind of a, you know, just it's a random example, but you know what I mean. I think a lot of people are going to start creating AI avatars of deceased people. And so I mean, again, this is very speculative in that, you know, we're sort of projecting into the future how this sort of plays out or how it can play out. So let me quote a few more places here from the white paper. Now imagine that our digital profiles are able to think and speak, born from our online personality patterns tied directly to ourselves. We add three-dimensionality to our intelligent profiles and turn them into 3D avatars, intelligent agents that have our personality and likeness that we command, knowing that it is a trusted representative of our true identity. There are endless possibilities for us to use our intelligent agents anywhere in the digital space. And there it is again, endless possibilities, you know, only limited by your imagination. Well, what does the Bible say? The human imagination is all kinds of evil, right? And the Tower of Babel, Genesis 11, why did God split the languages and tear down the tower? Because all they imagined to do will now be possible. And again, a sin-filled, fallen human being carrying out all of his imaginations will spell destruction. It says, quote, but as it stands right now, companies build complex AI from our interactions on their platforms and monetize them through focused advertisements and search results. These corporations get all the associated benefits and revenue, while we who provide the source for the profiles get limited access and no means to readily utilize them for our own needs and at our discretion. Now, this is true. This is the only thing that I think is positive, you know, sort of with this platform, is that they're trying to take the control of that data out of the hands of the corporations and giving it back to the people. Now, in that part of the mission, I'm down, except I'm not going to create an AI avatar. You know, I mean, perhaps what this means is that in order to not have the corporations have total control over your data, you have to create this AI avatar. And that's, you know, another one of those systematic things where the enslavement continues to happen based on presented dualities, this or that, and eventually it's going to lead to this tyrannical system. And that's, you know, that's why we have the left-right paradigm and all that. There's a quote here that is highlighted in the white paper. A humanistic platform could allow us to create our own comprehensive digital profiles. And here's where the mark of the beast concept is so prevalent. All right, let me read here. We can build a new type of distribution platform to bring back value for the contributor and decentralize the way we use AI. It is a platform that inherits the best qualities of online experience and efficient AI technologies, but begins with us, the individual contributor, as the center of the design. Each of us has an enormous volume of digital assets that can be refined with artificial intelligence to support a new type of digital economic system, an artificial intelligent economy. An artificial intelligent economy. An economy run by AI. That's what cryptocurrencies and the mark of the beast and all that is leading to. Now, that's stated. Okay, because some people are saying, why are you even participating in cryptos if you know it's going to lead to the, well, what's on the back of your dollar bill? All-seeing eye pyramid, right? So you've been participating in the system all along, for one. For two, again, there are very specific things that happen in Bible prophecy, so we got to look for that. It's not just, oh, here's the technology, here it's possible, therefore. Because statues are images, paintings are images. Those are also images that have been carried out throughout history, but this prophecy hasn't exactly been fulfilled, although some preterists might argue otherwise. But in any case, I think that we have to understand what's going on. And it's going to hit us like a wave, all this technology, okay? So we have to parse out what's good, what's bad. There are companies out there trying to do what's right, okay? And they're trying to create this quantum-proof and AI-proof cryptocurrency, although with, you know, quantum entanglement technologies now, I mean, we're living in Star Trek world. So I don't know how this is all going to work out. Maybe encryption at the quantum level is something they're working on as well. Who knows? But in any case, an artificial intelligent economy. And it says, in this humanistic platform, every person's AI assets is a node on a network. Global brain, anyone? A node. We are all becoming nodes in the global brain, okay? Where these nodes cooperate with each other to build up value and are compensated for their actions. So it's kind of like a dopamine hit for, you know, solving an equation or something. It's so weird that we are basically becoming synapses in a global brain. The higher the contribution to the network, the greater the compensation. It is an AI economy that is built by the people, for the people, with the people. Again, appealing to why blockchain technology is having this revolution right now. There are positive aspects to it to get us off of this centralized control mechanism. True, but as everything decentralizes, it's going to create this next higher level of control that is possible. If you control the entirety of the network access, then all of a sudden you have total control over the artificial intelligence economy. And I think that's what the entry point will be. Worshipping the image or taking the mark, which means you may not be human anymore because those who take the mark are tortured forever and ever. The torment of their smoke rises forever and ever. It's not good, okay? And I think it's because they lose their humanity. And how ironic that they are creating this humanistic platform and it will ultimately lead to their inhumanity. I mean, not this company, I'm talking about the philosophical worldview that is underpinning or fueling these types of technological developments. It's a spiritual thing that's happening. So part of the distribution of this artificial intelligent economy, as well as the mark of the beast, is that anybody can participate. Rich, poor, slave, it doesn't matter, right? Well, here's what it says. Right now, the complexity of AI renders it inaccessible to a broader audience and results in AI that is designed top-down to the benefit of the corporation who fund these initiatives. Project Pi is instead building the AI economy from the bottom up, starting with the everyday individual to empower them to be part of a collective AI community. From that seed, the platform can scale and help to solve the world's biggest problems. And by tying artificial intelligence to our digital profiles, we breathe life into our personal information and turn them into our very own three-dimensional avatars. Avatars that depict our likeness and voice and can perform tasks at our representative in the AI economy. They are verified with a centralized network as proof of acting upon our behalf and empower our online activity. Our intelligent digital assets can be collectively summed up as personal artificial intelligence, PI, profiles that have the ability to go out and tell the stories of our lives in our own words, in our own likeness and voice, and interact with the world on our behalf. We foresee the impact of integrated AI and will aim to harness the next great technological watershed moment in human history. Project Pi believes that the new age of the AI economy has arrived and can be realized by first celebrating the individual. Man, peace, then sudden destruction. I think we're going to see a time of prosperity, a time of building, a time where the esotericists will say, we've done it, we have recreated Atlantis, okay? And then sudden destruction, just like the days of Noah. People were giving in marriage, right? Doing whatever that means, right? With the sons of God and the Nephilim all running around, and they didn't know. Then the flood. And that's the same thing that's going to happen again when Jesus Christ returns. So I wanted to get you guys aware of this company and just show how the Bible's not crazy. I mean, think about what I did here. This is a project that is completely unrelated. These folks probably, aren't really Christian or, have too much working knowledge of the Bible. I mean, maybe they do, I don't know, in their personal lives, but as far as this project, they're moving forward with something that is totally from a secular perspective. But then here is this biblical document from 2,000 years ago that states the very thing that they're trying to build and how it could be used for this totalitarian beast system that will demand worship and demand a mark of some kind in order to participate in it. And you can see how it could lead to that, this type of technology. So that's it. I wanted to share that with you. I thought it was really profound and interesting that a company like this is out there and they're, you can tell that the whole cryptocurrency space and AI, that's sort of the direction everything is headed. I'm in it to fight the battle. I'm in it to inform you guys, but also to get intel on the enemy. And this is part of the process. If you're not going to fulfill Ephesians 5, verses 10 through 12, 13, then it's okay. You can just go off and do what you have been called to do. This is what I've been called to do, to look at these things and to show how the Bible is true and to ultimately point to the gospel. So that's all I have for you guys. Thanks for checking this video out. Please share it with friends and family. The time is short, but that means he is coming back soon. Have an awesome day, guys. God bless.
Today we are going to be talking about a very popular topic right now, which is AI. And we are going to talk about the potential antichrist implementations of AI technology and where it could lead humanity to, according to scripture. And it is not 100% like this is what's going to happen. It's kind of some things that I see rearing their head. It's me just kind of pointing them out and saying, could this not mean some things that are in scripture over here and over there? So it's more than anything my personal speculation on it. I want to make that very clear, but I think it's still something to think about, be leery of, and it's interesting to delve into. So we're going to talk about that today. So to start out, we are going to go to this article right here, and I will put a link of it in the description. But this is about the Singularity Net basically trying to make a blockchain-based artificial intelligence, or a network of artificial intelligence. So right now, what they're trying to do is make a smaller artificial intelligence that kind of specify in one area, one thing, but the blockchain technology basically allows them to all communicate. And essentially what the blockchain does is it keeps a ledger of transactions with Bitcoin, right? So I'm assuming the way that they're kind of making this artificial intelligence is making a kind of ledger to remember things that it learns adaptively. So you have all these separate artificial intelligences, like operating as a singular artificial intelligence, but then they're actually keeping a ledger of each other to create one giant global artificial intelligence mind. So it's basically like a hive and then a singular mind all combined together, webbing different parts into different components. So essentially, this article goes through kind of their startup of Singularity.net. It talks about how basically, since it is a blockchain technology, all these separate AIs will eventually generate to some degree revenue for itself. It's blockchain technology, but it actually runs off Ethereum. I think it's said in here, and very interesting article. It's Singularity.net is the brainchild of AI researcher Ben Goertzel, I don't know how to say that, and the robotics designer David Hansen. If you think that Hansen sounds familiar, it's because he is the founder of Hansen Robotics. The robot Sophia who is like the first AI humanoid robot, has been developed by Hansen Robotics, and it recently has attracted a ton of attention because in a press conference kind of trying to show where we're at with the AI technology, the humanoid technology, she was granted citizenship of Saudi Arabia. So not was she only the first AI robot in the world to become basically a citizen of a country, but also it's very strange that Saudi Arabia, a place that is, honestly, if you kind of look into it, even though they're an advanced city with technology and architecture and stuff, I mean, their kind of like law structure is still based around Muslim law, and it's very bizarre that they would offer citizenship to an AI robot, but they did. And so, but what gets really, really interesting is when we scroll down just a little bit further, and when while they were on the Singularity.net Roadshow, he took some time from his busy schedule to write a series of posts on Singularity.net, and he said, Singularity.net is intended as a platform in which an AGI, artificial general intelligence, can emerge from the combination of multiple humans and multiple human-created software programs, possessing varying degrees of general intelligence on their own. That's kind of what I was talking about, the like kind of hive mind aspect of separate humans, obviously, and human-created programs that will kind of come together and start creating a massive intelligence. Then it goes on to say it doesn't eliminate the need for fundamental algorithmic work on AGI reasoning and learning and memory, but it does provide a context in which such algorithmic work can have a rapid transformative impact. Says, therefore, Gortezel, I don't know how to say it, I'm sorry, is persuaded that the next big step in the evolution of AI is going to be the transition from AI to AGI, so the individual mind to like the hive mind, and then Singularity Net wants to support this transition with an open market in which various AI algorithms can cooperate and form new patterns of emergent intelligence. So that's where the blockchain comes in, is connecting them all through the blockchain. So then he goes on to say, and this is the big kicker that kind of bridges some of the other things I talk about in my channel, like with transhumanism, the mark of the beast and whatnot, but listen to this. The actual design that has been formulated is a quite practical system that is being implemented in quality software code and will serve real corporate customers and become a large lucrative business, continued Gortezel. But at the deepest level, the underlying philosophy and emotional motivations David Hansen and I have for creating Singularity Net are transhumanist ones. Gortezel and Hansen are in fact among the leading advocates of transhumanism, defined as the prospect of using advanced technology to radically change, hopefully for the better, which we all know that once you get, if we have transhumanism go to where it's into the mind and a computer chip is in the brain, and you're connected to this blockchain technology, I mean, that right there is going to explain what the mark of the beast is. And you don't have to completely understand all these systems. Now, I'm just going to say right here, I have a bit of a deeper understanding of the blockchain, and I say a little bit. I'm not an expert by any means, but I have a little bit more of an understanding because I used to use it, because I used to buy drugs and I used to do drugs, and so I had to use it and had to have a basic understanding of blockchain technology. Now, the implementation of this technology has always been talked about as something that can go further than just using it to buy drugs and do secretive transactions, and we're starting to see this emerge now and see why the blockchain is starting to just get ridiculous amounts of money poured into it, and why Bitcoin itself has been raising in price like crazy. Enabling transhumanist technologies would include life extension, uploading human minds to futuristic supercomputers, and sentient AGI way smarter than humans, which is the target of Singularity Net. So they want to make a sentient AGI that's way smarter than any human, and this is gonna, like I said, this is gonna feed into the next article that I'm gonna go into, but we're talking about they want to make a sentient being, okay? But then after talking about, putting our consciousness into computers, all this stuff about, bettering the human condition, hopefully, right? It talks about, in his 2010 book, A Cosmist Manifesto, it blends transhumanist technology with enlightened spirituality. Gortezel proposed a practical philosophy able to inform the next phases of human history and transhumanist evolution. Ultimately, Gortezel wants to create a massively transhuman, overwhelmingly beneficial ubermind that evolves and grows continuously out of human mind and culture. One way to achieve this would be via brain-computer interfacing, and this is going to happen. Of course, the computer portions of cyborgs made with brain-computer interfaces will jack into the emerging AGI society economically and culturally as well, and then we will get a supermind. This emerging supermind, as it grows, will provide ways for people to earn a living, sometimes even generate tremendous wealth as part of its growth process. And it will donate parts of its resources to common good of all humans, including underprivileged ones, as a way of helping drive its growth forward toward its objectives of joy, growth, and choice. sadly, you won't get much choice when they start saying, well, you know, to use this this tremendous amount of wealth, you know, this supermind is creating all the wealth in the world. So what are we going to have to do to get a part of this wealth, to enjoy the benefits of this supermind that has been created? You know what we're going to have to do. We're going to have to interface with it. We're going to have a ledger, an ability to receive the money. That's why we are going to have a point where we can no longer buy or sell with the markets unless you take the mark of the beast. Because it's going to be a chip. In my opinion, it's going to not only be a chip, but it's going to be this, as he said about his book, it's going to be a chip meshed with spiritual enlightenment aspects of this kind of pseudoscience that I used to be into, that I used to believe in. And it's going to be all about trying to live forever and trying to create a machines that can take in our consciousness and creating our own reality and creating this this paradise that doesn't fall under the grace of God. And it's just insane that we are having these conversations, because these conversations, if you look at biblical passage, it really just starts falling completely in place with the Bible. It's just insane. So this leads us into the next article, which is about a religion that worships artificial intelligence, wants machines to be in charge of the planet. And so basically, I'm not going to read through this one as much because it's fairly self-explanatory and it will lead into the overall goal of this video. It's talking about a newly established religion called Way of the Future will worship artificial intelligence, focusing on the realization, acceptance, and worship of a godhead based on artificial intelligence that followers believe will eventually surpass human control over Earth. The first AI-based church was founded by Anthony Lewandowski. These people, and they're hard to say last names. The Silicon Valley multimillionaire who championed the robotics team for Uber's self-driving program, and Waymo, the self-driving car company owned by Google. Way of the Future is about creating a peaceful and respectful transition of who is in charge of the planet from people to people plus machines. The religion's official website reads, given that technology will relatively soon be able to surpass human abilities, we want to help educate people about this exciting future and prepare a smooth transition. The idea needs to spread before technology, he told the publication. The church is how we spread the word, the gospel. If you believe in it, start a conversation with someone else and help them understand the same things. Goes on to talk about Elon Musk and saying that Musk has predicted that AI superiority could be the most likely cause of a third world war, and said that people who talk about AI creations becoming godlike figures should absolutely not be allowed to develop the technology. And it's true. And I'm going to link this all to scripture here in a minute. But basically, what I just want to say, okay, is you need to take this into consideration, okay? We have Singularity Net, which if you don't know what the singularity means, singularity is the point at which we hit a technological growth evolution where the technology is advancing so much faster than what we can control. We make artificial intelligence and it just starts rapidly learning and far exceeding us. And I'm going to tell you why the singularity is so important to transhumanists, and I'm going to explain this as easily as I can, okay? They probably won't say this themselves, but this is why, okay? Because transhumanists want the singularity to happen, so we are forced to merge with machine and start doing all these transhumanistic goals that they have, because after AI starts rapidly evolving way faster than we can even conceive, it's going to start learning more and more things. It's going to start understanding more and more things, be way smarter than any human on earth. And the only way that we are going to gain this intelligence is whether they filter it down to us or if we have access to their information field, which is where the transhumanistic aspect comes in, because we are going to have to interface with the blockchain technology.